If the Chinese continue to release free or cheap models that are almost as good, then that the legs out from underneath the entire investment opportunity in America. Good morning, everybody. This is AI with Kyle. I'm going to be running through the latest news and updates for the world of artificial intelligence. A couple of things going on right now. We just had the release of a new DeepSeek model, an open source model from China. So again, we're going to be turning our attention to China and what's going on over there. How are they still training if they can't use NVIDIA chips? We have some ideas here. And then I'm going to be looking at a recent code red that was announced at OpenAI. Basically, they're in a bit of a panic after Gemini 3, but they have a number of different forces all suddenly banging at the door, really threatening their hegemony, threatening their hold of the competition right now. So we're going to be looking at what's going on at OpenAI and what the future has in store, including the rollout of adverts, which is apparently not happening anymore because of this code red. We'll get into it in just a moment. Good morning to everybody on TikTok, YouTube. Good to see you. First, let's look at DeepSeek. So this came out yesterday. DeepSeek v3.2 and DeepSeek v version 3.2 Special. Reasoning first models built for agents. 2 models. First says version 3.2, which is the official successor to version 3.2 experimental. That one has been out for a couple of weeks, maybe even a month. Looks like it was updated 14 days ago, experimental, and people liked it a lot. This is now the official release. So it's come out of experimental, it's come out of beta basically, and we now have the full release. It is now live in the app, web, and API. This is now their main model. They also have something called Special, pushing reasoning capabilities API only for now. These are DeepSeek models, so they are also open source. So we can actually come over to Hugging Face, or you have the DeepSeek AI / DeepSeek version 3.2 is here. It is 685 billion parameters, not as large as some models like ChatGPT 5.1, Gemini 3, etc. We believe it's in the trillions, so this is still in the billions. This is open source, so we can come to this website and use it. We can clone the repository into our own GitHub, access this model and fine-tune it and connect it to our own systems, run it locally if you have a beefy enough computer, which is very different to the closed source models the Americans deploy. China is leading the way in open source models. Version 3.2 is under the MIT license, which kind of allows you to do an awful lot with it. So we can pull up the license and you can, oh, that's strange, it 404'd, so they've forgotten to put their license in place. Whoops. But it's apparently under the MIT license. Somebody needs to tell them that they should put that up, because that's a bit of an issue. It's very good. As good as state-of-the-art models like Gemini 3. It is not as good as ChatGPT 5.1, but it is open source and relatively lightweight with 685 billion parameters. The fact that they're able to continue to push out models with less GPUs is impressive. There's a tech report, but we're just going to look at the chart. There is a 20-page paper about the release as well, which I'll put in the newsletter tomorrow if you want to get into detail. Overall, it's pretty great. Here we go. We've got Special, their top model, and 3.2 Thinking, putting their 3.0 model into thinking mode, which you can see compared to Gemini 3 Pro, GPT-5 High, and Claude 4.5 Sonnet, not Opus, because presumably they were doing these benchmarks before Opus released, which was only a week ago. So that is fine. And we can see it is competitive. So in software engineering bench, it is slightly below everything else. In terminal bench, it is the second highest. It looks like the top is Gemini, apparently. So I would say it is not generally beating other models, but it is competitive. So it is not going to be the best model. That's still going to be Claude 4.5 Opus, probably Gemini 3 Pro, and Codex 5.1 Max over in ChatGPT if you're doing software engineering. But it's very good open source. You can download it, you can run it on your local computer, you can install it onto a server, you can fine-tune it. This is the big problem for companies like OpenAI, and I'm going to talk about OpenAI's code red in just a moment. But what is happening now is the Chinese are releasing models that are very good, very good. They're also incredibly cheap. Let's have a look. This is the API prices. So if you are using it in the app version, these are not really relevant to you. If you are building software though, this is incredibly relevant. So 3.2, this is input that must be cached, the second one, and output. Yes, okay, so input, cached, and output. So you pay different amounts depending on usage. Input is me sending messages to DeepSeek. Output is DeepSeek sending me messages back, basically. And cached is if you set up a piece of software and you have prompts that are very similar or information that's very similar going back and forward a lot, you can cache some responses to decrease costs. We'll focus on input and output. Input for DeepSeek is 28 cents, American cents, compared to 5.1 OpenAI is $1.25, and Gemini 3 Pro is $2. So it is almost 10 times cheaper than Gemini, and it is 5 or 6 times cheaper than ChatGPT. And then on the output, it is 42 cents for a million tokens compared to $10 for GPT 5.1 and $12 for Gemini 3 Pro. So it's not just cheaper, we're talking 20 times cheaper on output tokens, 8 or 9 times cheaper on input. It is much cheaper. And again, it is competitive. It's not better, but it's just as good, almost, and 10 times, 20 times cheaper. If you are building software, if you are using the API, you don't necessarily need the best model all the time. I know that we as people want a really good model. If you're building a piece of software that maybe somebody puts in their details and it gives them a workout plan, for example, you don't need the most state-of-the-art deep thinking model. You need speed and you need it to be cheap so that you can serve thousands, tens of thousands of customers at the same time. So if you are building, this is incredibly attractive because you can get access to the model itself. It's open source. You can fine tune it on your data. You can connect it to RAG, your own database, basically. Or you can run it using their API and it will be extremely cheap compared to ChatGPT, compared to Gemini and Anthropic, definitely compared to Anthropic. This is a threat and we're starting to see this in action. More of Silicon Valley is building on Chinese AI. These are not AI companies first and foremost, but startups using artificial intelligence in their product. They're not necessarily using ChatGPT. They're not necessarily using Gemini. They are instead using Chinese AI, and they'll be doing it in different ways. You can get the model, download it, run it on your servers, or use their API, which is extremely cheap. It's still a bit anecdotal. I saw this the other day. Apparently all the Y Combinator startups are using Chinese AI, but they didn't have any data. NBC News spoke to over 15 AI startup founders who said that while models from American companies set the pace of progress, many Chinese systems are cheaper, more customizable, and sufficiently capable for many uses over the past year. Being the best does not mean that you are the best option when you are building. We don't need the overkill of a state-of-the-art model. This leads to a big problem because American companies are asking for more and more money. However, if people don't need state-of-the-art models, if they're happy to use an open source Chinese model, which is free, or very cheap if you use their API, that undercuts the whole mission of a company like OpenAI. It undercuts Anthropic, it even undercuts Google to a certain extent, because why are they investing all of this money into something that the consumers, the people who are building with this stuff, don't actually need? The consumers are happy to use the cheaper version for their applications. I hate this mouse. It's beautiful but useless. I think I might need to change it. So this puts us in a massive problem right now in terms of not just the US AI industry, but also the world economy, because a lot of money is being invested into artificial intelligence in the US right now, into these companies like OpenAI. But if the Chinese continue to release free or cheap models that are almost as good, then that kicks the legs out from underneath the entire investment opportunity in America, because being the best is not necessarily going to be valuable moving forward. You just need to be good enough and very accessible. And I'm sure the Chinese government knows what they're doing. This is a strategic fight between countries at this point, as well as a technological battle. So I'm going to hop over to some questions. I'm going to try to. This terrible mouse. There we go. And while I'm doing some questions, I will charge my mouse up and see if there are any. I'm not seeing any. Got one. What about the quality of the results and capability limits? The new model from DeepSeek 3, version 3.2 and version 3.2 special are very good. They're not as good as OpenAI, the new Claude model, or Gemini 3. For most things, it does not matter. You do not need the top of the line model if you are building software yourself. Whenever I build, sometimes I use 4.0, that's been deprecated. Sometimes I'm using GPT-4, because if you are building something, it does not necessarily need the smartest model. in the back end in order to do the task. Let's say that I'm bringing in information and I need to filter and sort it into different buckets. All it requires is passing a block of text, analyzing it, and categorizing it into 5 buckets. You don't need 5.1 Codex Max or anything like that, or Claude Opus 4.5 to do a very basic task like that. You can use GPT-4. Hell, GPT 3.5 might even manage because it's such a basic task. So the complexity of that tasks or certain tasks in the back of your software don't really get any more complex. They're no more difficult than they were a couple of years ago, which means that the models that could deal with that a couple of years ago can still deal with that now. And there's no need to go for the more expensive artificial intelligence unless you really have to. But increasingly, because the gains between these different models are in like really high-end stuff like the International Math Olympiad or coding software development, because most software that we're building is, hey, take some information from here, I don't know, pass it for sentiment analysis and then output something. We can do that with an earlier model. We don't need the best model in the world. So that's what we're seeing, or apparently is being seen in San Francisco, is a lot of startups are just using Chinese models because they're good enough and 10 times cheaper. So the economics of it do not stack up in OpenAI's favor because we don't need the best model. We want the functional model for the cheapest price. Also, some people worry about security. If you use the API, you are sending information to China. You're sending information to the DeepSeek servers. If you do a local model on your computer or server, it is more secure than sending things to OpenAI. Will GPT catch up with Gemini for image development like infographics? The DALL-E model's never been that exciting. So what Google have, and a big advantage Google have right now with Nano Banana, is they have Google Images. They have a huge amount of images that have already been categorized, cataloged, sorted, filtered. So whenever you search inside of Google Images, and you can actually find images that are related to what you're looking for, that's because they've spent decades now cataloging all those images. That is the same data that's going to be used to train Nano Banana and to absolutely knock it out of the park. ChatGPT have access to that. They can scrape it from Google, but Google is going to make that as hard as possible. So they're going to be working with more limited data sets with less rich labeling. So it's the data asset that Google have, I mean, it far outweighs, I can't think of any other image resource or any other resource on the planet that gives them more access to more imagery for training. Meta have Instagram, Meta have Facebook, and they are training off those images, but that's very specific because people aren't necessarily uploading infographics. So they'll be very good at training models of people, because that's what people upload, or dogs or food, but not necessarily infographics or design elements, whereas Google Image has everything. The big thing with Nano Banana Pro is their ability to text. So that's been a major unlock, being able to read text inside of images and also add text into images with pretty minimal errors. There are still some, especially if it's text heavy, but that's basically a solved problem. The way they've done that is very smart. Before Nano Banana Pro generates an image, it actually runs it through Gemini, your request. So it has Gemini think about what it is you want. Previously, when we were using DALL-E or when we were using the previous Nano Banana, we'd actually have to construct the prompt. Often in another AI would say, hey, this is the kind of thing I want to do. I want to design an infographic about the water cycle. It needs to have these 3 elements. It needs to describe X, Y, Z. We'd have to bring that into Nano Banana and it would give it a shot. Whereas Nano Banana Pro does all of that reasoning up front and then generates the image. There's nothing stopping OpenAI from doing that with their image generator. You just add a thinking layer beforehand that takes your request and then reprocesses it into a prompt. They could do that with the current DALL-E model now, but they still have issues with text. They need more training. I'm about to talk about ChatGPT. OpenAI have announced a code red. It's crisis stations over in OpenAI right now. Do not discount them. We're in December, so we're probably coming up to the 12 days of Shipmas. I think they're doing it again. I've seen rumors, people hyping it up, people who are generally reliable saying, yeah, it's happening, it's going ahead. So last year they did 12 days and they released new things every single day. They had some exciting stuff at the beginning, they had some exciting stuff at the end. Then the middle was fine for developers in particular. Apparently they're doing that again. Whether they'll release something exciting enough we'll see. They often manage to surprise us, honestly. Right, let's see if we've got any use. There we go. Thanks. I wonder how 4.0 Mini compares to DeepSeek, as that seems enough for most SaaS demands. Yeah, honestly, I use 4.0 a lot in my backend because it's cheap, good, and it does the job. They are deprecating some versions of 4.0 in February. I think Mini's okay. Let me check this. They are deprecating 4.0 latest is going to be deprecated on the 17th of Feb. 4.0 Mini is very cheap. In terms of which is better, 4.0 Mini or DeepSeek, you have to test it. Hop into the sandbox, put in your prompt is, whatever you're trying to build, that section of what you're building, and you see what they're like. You'll see if it's able to deal with structured responses like JSON, etc. And you can test them both out. There's no way around it. We can look at benchmarks, but ultimately it's up to you. Stick the prompt in, see what results you can get out of it, and then make the decision based on the cost of those responses. Thankfully, they have sandboxes to test it out. On balance, which is better, GPT or Gemini for deep research? I would have said GPT until yesterday when I tried to do some deep research, and it was a multi-part research, and GPT 5.1 kept mucking it up. So the research had 4 parts. It completed the first part and it was like, great, I'm done, I'm ready for the next part. It said, cool, go ahead, do part 2. And it ran off and did it, and it did part 1 again. It sent everything back to me. I was like, you've just done the same thing. I need part 2. It's like, oh, you're right, I'm sorry. And it did part 1 again. So I think it was hitting a context window issue. Maybe it's recency bias, but I found that frustrating, and I won't be using deep research in ChatGPT anymore, or at least not for the foreseeable future. I use Claude. I put Claude Opus 4.5 into deep research mode, and it will go off for 30-40 minutes sometimes. I did one yesterday, pulled in about 800 sources. It really goes for it. Let's see if we can find it. That's 12 minutes. There's another one. Here we go. 17 minutes, 821 sources. There was one that went for ages. It might not be in this chat. This one is 300 sources, 18 minutes. It will research properly for 10 to 20 minutes, and it will bring in hundreds and hundreds of sources. So this one had 642 sources. I find Claude to be extremely good. Claude is my daily driver for most tasks. Imagine doing this yourself. Absolutely mad. That was 642 sources over 20 minutes. And so I use this rather than ChatGPT or Gemini. Out of those two, I would use Gemini, because recently I've found ChatGPT not performing well for me. I don't know if it's temporary. I don't know if it's a service degradation before a rollout of something new, maybe next week, maybe 12 days of shipmas. But it annoyed me yesterday because it kept giving me the same thing, which I'm sure it's happened to you before, is extremely frustrating. I don't want 2 subscriptions. Yeah, that's fair. So I should cancel GPT and go with Gemini. So there is another option, Perplexity. You can get Perplexity Pro for free using PayPal. If you have a PayPal account, you can get Perplexity Pro for free. This is a good test of my plosives on the microphone because it's so many P's. PayPal Perplexity Pro. So Perplexity, I don't generally recommend it, but what you get when you use Perplexity is access to all of the other models. Let's see. So you get access to Sonar, which is theirs, obviously. You get access to all the other models. What advanced models? Here we go. So you get access to Sonar, GPT 5.1, Claude Sonnet 4.5, Gemini 3 Pro. So there you go. Grok 4, if you want it. Kimi K2 Thinking, Claude Sonnet 4.5. I'm sure they said that before. Yep, they doubled that up. Claude Opus 4.5, but only for Max subscribers. And this paid one is not for Max, it's for Pro. O3 Pro, again, that's only on Max. So Perplexity actually gives you access to all of the other models. Sorry, Perplexity Pro gives you access to all of the other models inside Perplexity. However, you don't get access to all of the bells and whistles. Sure, you have access to GPT 5.1, but you won't necessarily have access to the same deep research. You won't have access to projects. You won't have access to shopping research, which is a new thing they added, and all of the kind of tools that they add around the actual base level model. You just get the base model. So for research in particular, you'd still be relying on Perplexity's research agent, but it would be using GPT 5.1 or Gemini 3 Pro or Claude Sonnet 4.5 under the hood. So it's worth trying because, well, 1, then you only need 1 subscription. You get access to all of the top models. 2, you can get that subscription for free using the PayPal Perplexity Pro subscription. Exclusive for PayPal users, get a free year of Pro when you connect PayPal and choose a valid billing method. You just need to make sure to cancel it before 12 months. Honestly, though, Perplexity just give away subscriptions like candy. I think if you're on Revolut or Monzo, you get one. I think they give them to Amex people. So it's quite easy to get a free subscription. I don't personally use it or recommend it that much, but if you are more cost conscious and you only want one subscription, it's probably the way to do it. Give it a shot. If it's between GPT and Gemini and you only want one, it's hard to say. We don't know what ChatGPT is about to release. And I know people who do this every month. They're like, okay, ChatGPT is fallen behind. I'm going to cancel and go over to Claude. And then Gemini 3 comes out and they're like, oh, Claude's rubbish. I'm going over to Gemini. And they end up switching their subscription like every month. But the truth of the matter is all of these models get better all the time. Whatever we have this month is not necessarily representative next month. Find the one that works for you and stick with it unless there is a massive reason to shift away from it, which generally we don't have. Normally, the new model would just be slightly better. So Gemini 3 might be slightly better than ChatGPT 5.1. Is it worth moving? Probably not, because you have your saved chats, you have your projects, you have the persistent memory in ChatGPT, so it might not be worth it. Some people love switching around. I'm just lazy. I can't be bothered. Hi, Kyle. It's Alex. If you have a Gemini subscription, can you check if you have invite links from Gemini Pro? I'll put them in the newsletter if I do have them. I don't normally give out links, but I probably should. I'll put it in the newsletter. I'll have a look. Punk is saying, go Claude. I've been using Claude as my main AI for the last 18 months. Claude is a lot more focused than ChatGPT. So ChatGPT, they're always adding new things like, we added learn mode, shopping research, image generation, and Sora 2. There's always something cool and new. So lots of shiny objects. Claude, on the other hand, is quite boring. They just plod along in the background, releasing the best models every few months. When they do release it, they don't make much fanfare about it. And there's this joke in the community about Anthropic. They'll either release like the best model in the world or just another research paper. And they treat them with the same fanfare on their Twitter and PR. It could be Opus 4.5, which everyone now believes is the best model. Or it could just be like, hey, we did some research on ethics. And they don't hype it up. They do not market it when they release a new model. Whereas OpenAI, constantly releasing new stuff and always telling us this is the best, this is the most important. So Claude just gets the work done in the background. It's not sexy, it's not exciting, but it is very good. And I use it as my daily driver for all of my work. I run out of projects in Claude. I use Claude Code for coding. I use Claude Code for other things as well. You can use Claude Code for things like helping you put together sales pages. It can help with the writing, not just the technical stuff. I've seen people using Claude Code to write books. So they actually load it up into Cursor, and their Cursor project will be their sections and their chapters. You can go back and forward with Claude Code and work on creative projects. It's an absolute powerhouse. It's not exciting. It's not sexy. They don't do images. They do not do videos. I think that, they do voice mode, but it's basically just recording your voice. And they just plod along making the best model on earth. Not exciting, but very good. I highly recommend Claude. Do you use Claude Opus for deep research? Yeah. Does Claude Sonnet also do better deep research than ChatGPT? I think so, but again, I really like Claude. And I've been using Sonnet 4.5 until last week when they released Opus 4.5. Sonnet 4.5 is really good. With these, you have to try benchmarks that will say, this model's better at this, model's better at that. Then there will be people like me on social media saying, oh, you must use this. This is the best thing to use. I tend to be less forceful. But ultimately, it's up to you and your task. So it depends on what you're researching and what kind of result you're looking for. But for me, Claude works well. I'm a big fan. Do you have the same invite links that have 4 months free for the new user? No, I haven't got any of them, but I can probably get some because I know people at Google. I can ask my contacts at Google. I went to see Radiohead with them last week, but I'm sure I can ask for some more. I will ask them today and put it in the newsletter if I get some links. ChatGPT is just autocomplete. Not really, because it can use tools. The large language model, GPT 5.1, GPT 4, etc. That is the large language model. That is the autocomplete part. Autocomplete simplifies it a bit. I think token tumbler is fair. That's what Andrej Karpathy says, and it's a really useful description. But it's a bit more than that because now this token tumbler, this autocomplete, can connect to tools. It can act in an agentic way. So it can go off and it can find information. It can act on that information. It can plan. It can think its way through problems using reasoning and chain of thought. And then it can act on those information, sometimes for 20, 30 minutes, an hour. We've moved beyond it just being autocomplete. It can act on our behalf now. That's why agentic artificial intelligence and things like Claude Code are so exciting. I have a task right now running in Cursor. I gave it a task. It is still going. It's been going for half an hour, putting together stuff for me. That is not autocomplete. That is an agent using tools to carry out instructions. So it's different. A few years ago, yes, they were just autocomplete. Now they can search the internet and use tools. What's the mileage in running local models? It's fun, but increasingly impractical. So we just had a look at DeepSeek 3.2. This is 685 billion parameters. Ooh, I can't do the maths right now, but you'd need a beast of a machine to get it working at a speed which makes it usable. You can load this model onto any old computer and run it, but it's going to be agonizingly slow, like maybe generating one token every 20 minutes or an hour. Even if you have a beefy machine, as the models get performance will degrade. So you might install it, get it running, but it's not going to be a good time. Have a look at PewDiePie's video on this. It's interesting. This one, Stop Using AI Right Now, it's called. Nope, sorry, Felix. So this is a video here where he talks about running local models, and he's built a computer. Let me see if I can find his computer. And he goes through how you do it, etc., and why you would do it. His rig is $20,000 worth of GPUs. It still struggles with inference, and it definitely struggles with training. So running a local model, if you have tens of thousands to blow on it, fine, go for it, go nuts. It'll be a good, fun project, and you can run it locally, which gives you privacy. You can train your own model, which gives you control. Whether or not that's practical depends on how much money you have to burn and how much you need that privacy. For the most part, what you would just do is use the API or rent a server and install a local model on it, which has its own costs. It's not necessarily cheaper. This is a problem that is going to become more and more apparent because the models are getting bigger. And as the models get larger, you require more processing power, more GPUs, more parallel processing to be able to run them on your computer. For the last couple of years, it's been possible with smaller models, but as they get larger, the beefiness of your computer increases and the price of GPUs are going up. So it's going to become less and less viable, at least for an individual. If you're doing it as a business, then sure, it's a business decision. Even then, businesses have said we need to train our own AI or a fine-tuned local version. Spent months and hundreds of thousands doing it. By the time it's set up, trained staff on it, a new state-of-the-art model has come out, a new ChatGPT, a new Claude, a new Gemini, whatever it is. And whatever they have built is a joke by that point. You're up against people who are spending hundreds and hundreds of millions on training their models into the billions. And so even if you dedicate hundreds of thousands or even millions towards training your own models, running them locally, they're going to get blown out of the water within a few months. The calculus, to me, doesn't make sense. Do it as a hobby project because it's fun and you can learn how these things are deployed. You can learn how it would be done at scale. But from a practical point of view, using it daily, it's less viable. There is, what I would say is definitely download an app. I know I was talking about processing speed and phones don't have much, but Edge AI running on local devices is interesting. There's an app on iOS called Locally. So Locally is free. You don't require login, so it's fully private and secure. You can download the Gemma models. That's going to be out of focus. We've got Llama 3.2, Qwen 3, Qwen, various other Qwens. No DeepSeek because it's too much to run. You can run it on your phone and have a little local model. And these models are like Qwen is 2.5 gigs. Qwen 3, 1.7 bill is 1 gig. They're small and they can run locally on your device. So if you want to play around with it, I would recommend doing that. If you want to do it on your computer, use M Studio, local AI on your computer, or VLLM. I use LM Studio. You can download that and then you can get models. I think you can get them here, or you can go and get them from Hugging Face or the GitHub repository. They have them on LM Studio. You can do it directly from inside LM Studio. There's like a model selector and it would download them directly for you. And then that's a good way to get it done really fast so you can see whether or not it's going to be practical at all. Because some you'll download and realize once you give it a request, it gives you a word every 10 minutes. You realize this isn't going to fly. But it's fun. Minor Willie says, perfect. It's a great question. Some people who are massively into local models and they will talk about you have to run your own local model if you want to be secure, if you want to control your AI and stuff. From a practical point of view, though, it's really expensive, and it's going to get more expensive. Also, RAM prices are going up right now. GPUs have been expensive for a long time because there's basically only NVIDIA making them, which is a problem. And during crypto mining and the crypto kind of craze, GPU prices went through the roof. And then we had AI, which also uses GPUs. So this is why NVIDIA are the biggest company on earth right now, because everyone needs their hardware. This means for a normal person to go and buy a GPU is now prohibitively expensive. A 4080, what is a 4080? Which is a home unit like you'd use for gaming, is very hard to find. That's a couple of grand. And you need a bunch of them together. PewDiePie, for example, has 10 4080s. I might be wrong here, all connected together. Or if you want like an H200, which would be a wild thing to buy, an H200 is £27,000, so 30 grand, including VAT. You'd need a bunch to make a dent. The Colossus data center has 50,000 of these, just to give you an idea. Colossus, let's see how many. Do I mean Colossus? It has 100,000 H100s. How many H200? And 50,000 H200s. Yeah, this is why they need more money. They need more money so they can give it to NVIDIA. Not cheap. I have a decent modern Mac M series. The M series is good, and the M5 coming out in March is tuned for artificial intelligence. M series Macs, thinking about, still clear. Try it. Download LM Studio and play around with it because it's interesting to see. I think you'll be able to get some decent performance out of the smaller models, but then very quickly come to the realization that, oh, these models are nowhere near as good as ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, even DeepSeek. So what's the point of this? But again, it's fun. Cool. I'm actually going to hop on to OpenAI. So OpenAI are apparently in panic mode right now. There has been a code red, and this code red has been leaked to Reuters. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman told employees that he's declaring a code red to improve ChatGPT and is planning to delay other initiatives such as advertising. The information reported on Monday, citing an internal memo. So there's been a leak. They're in panic mode. Hasn't publicly acknowledged it is working on ads, but it's testing types, including those related to online shopping, citing a person with knowledge of its plans. We've seen it. Chen Jin on Twitter, he got an advert served up to him yesterday. A Peloton advert, hilariously. Bizarrely, he was talking to ChatGPT about something not related to fitness, not related to Peloton, and then got hit with an ad at the bottom. This is relatively speculative, but the response is, as you would imagine, people saying, I'm on the, that's him saying he's on the $200 a month plan, so it might be coming to pay plans too. But the responses are a lot of people saying, that's done, I'm going to leave. There's no way I'm using ChatGPT. And there's a very interesting response, and I 100% agree with this. If Gemini can keep up without spamming ads, it's a huge win for them. And I think they will. I think they will hold back. Google need to add adverts at some point because their search business is threatened by artificial intelligence. You need to replace users, get them onto Gemini, and later serve them ads. If you can hold off for a year using your cash reserves and Google, you can let OpenAI, who need the money, launch ads first. OpenAI get hit with all of the flack, all of the hatred that comes with adding adverts into artificial intelligence. And then a year or so later, Google can swan in and be like, oh yeah, we're releasing targeted ads, and people aren't going to care as much. Already, ChatGPT, OpenAI are feeling a massive amount of pressure. This is a chart showing the app downloads. So this isn't everything, but Gemini is finally starting to be downloaded. So this is not just using Gemini inside Google search, which we do every day. That would be a way for Google to inflate numbers and say, 70% of the world uses Gemini. This is not that. This is the app downloads. People getting on their phone and actually proactively downloading the Gemini app. It is apparently catching up with ChatGPT. ChatGPT obviously has a much larger existing installed base, but Gemini has become a contender. For the last couple of years, it has not been relevant. This spike here is Nano Banana. The first release of Nano Banana had a viral moment, which they have not had up until this point. We need to see if this drops off. Nano Banana was only released a couple of months ago, so we need more data. This might drop down to here. The amount of time people are spending in Gemini is higher. than it is in ChatGPT. We need to take into account that people are generating images. Average minutes spent per visit. It says chatting with rival chatbots. I think this again is using Nano Banana Pro. People are spending more time finding images. They're a contender. They are in the game. OpenAI are now being squeezed between what we just covered, which is Chinese models like DeepSeek. DeepSeek coming into the market and saying, hey, here you go, open source, go nuts. Oh, if you want to use our API, it's 20 times cheaper than ChatGPT. If you want, that's cool. So that's on one side. Lots of people are going to be moving over to the Chinese models. And on the other side, they have Google. Google are now in contention for a consumer artificial intelligence on people's telephones in a way that they were not a few months ago. So OpenAI have had a couple of years of basically freedom. They could do what they want. ChatGPT has become synonymous with artificial intelligence, for better or worse. But now the crunch is on, and they need to continue to bring in money, and that requires them to be the top dog, and that is no longer necessarily the case. So a code red has been declared. Adverts is apparently being pushed back. I think they know they're already in a shaky position, and if they push out their ads now, they're going to lose a huge amount of goodwill, and that will allow Gemini to become ascendant. So right now in chat, several people have asked me in chat today, oh, should I use Gemini or ChatGPT? A month ago, nobody was thinking about Gemini. Nobody was thinking about Google. Yeah, it had a nano banana moment, but nobody was talking about Gemini. Like, who cares about Gemini? And prior to Gemini, we had Bard. Like, no one cares. Now people are actually asking, oh, should I be using Gemini 3? That's new, which is really cool to see. It's great to see some more competition. But OpenAI is apparently in panic mode right now. So we will see. They always pull something out of the bag. So I think we'll have a 12 days of shipmas coming up next week after, maybe. Whether it's enough to start to regain goodwill and to prove that they're still the top dog, I don't know. What we do know for sure is that there is now competition. It's not going to be as easy moving forward. I wish them luck, and I think all competition is fantastic. Everybody competing means we get better and better models all the time. It's good. They're not going to be it's not going to be smooth sailing for them. They're going to have to pull out their finger and get us something very exciting. The hype train is in action. OpenAI representatives have been coming onto social media and saying, oh, we're working on something big. Just you wait. We don't know what that is yet, but they are trying to remain in the public eye. Hopefully we'll release something soon in the next few weeks. No more questions. I'm going to wrap up for the day. Everything from this live will be placed into a newsletter. The newsletter comes out every day, and you can find it on aiwithkyle.com. So here's the one from today, where we talked about ChatGPT ads. We talked about what actually is AI and DeepMind, etc. Documentary. So this was the issue that came out this morning. You get all of the resources, you get the charts I'm looking at, you get any papers that I talk about will be linked. If you asked a question on the live, your question will be featured inside of the newsletter as well. So make sure you are subscribed. You can find it at AI with Kyle. There's a prompt library connected to playbooks I've written. So let's say click on here. This is the prompt itself. Prompts are fine, whatever, but it's actually connected to a playbook, which gives you all of the context and basically a mini course about how to use that prompt. And I have over 100 of these mini courses for you, like starting a newsletter business, how to create long form content, creating a service with AI, how to get into live video, what I'm doing right now, on AI entrepreneurship, launching your AI app is all in here. And each one of these courses is about 5,000 to 15,000 words. So this one's 15,000. There are over 100 of them waiting for you. There's also tools and resources, AI business quiz, what AI business should you start, how to translate concepts in artificial intelligence for people in your industry, so you can become an AI educator, an AI authority, etc. There's a whole bunch of stuff there, so make sure you check that out. I've been working hard on this. Also, YouTube, we just crossed 10,000, which is exciting. If you want to subscribe, that'd be great. We're at 10,140. I've realized that I don't get the YouTube play button until 100,000, so I have a long way to go. Come and subscribe on YouTube as well, where you're going to be getting the condensed version, the edited version of this daily live, chopped up and easy to access. So hopefully these resources are a good way for you to keep on top of what the hell is going on in artificial intelligence, because it's a lot. I am somebody who follows it every single day, and it's a lot for me. So my job is to condense it, filter the signal from the noise, and help you work out what parts of AI pay attention to and what parts you can safely ignore, which is most of it. It's fine. Awesome. So make sure to subscribe to the newsletter and to YouTube, and I will see you for more AI news. Cheers.